On Friday, protesters across the world gathered to stage a protest on global climate, demanding that governments should take urgent steps in preventing climate change catastrophe. The protest was inspired by a 16-year-old Swedish activist, a Swedish girl, Greta Thunberg. And the international protest comes ahead of the UN Climate Action Summit, where countries are supposed to ramp up their ambitions to curb greenhouse gases under the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement. Now, at the time that this summit took place in Paris, we spoke about it, and we brought this young chap here to talk about it at the time. But is Nigeria paying attention to all this? Do we believe that climate change is taking place, and do we believe that the dangers of climate change are actually real? Well, we know that President Trump says that he doesn't believe in climate change. But what are we doing about it in this part of the world? It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Desmond Majekodunmi, an environmental, what Bishop. Are you today?
I'm just a gardener.
His position changes every week. He used to be an evangelist, then he became
an apostle.
Apostle.
We're wearing many, many caps because it's a multifaceted issue that needs to be addressed effectively.
Okay, his passion is the environment, and that includes climate change. And we also have Mobola Eko, who is a forester. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, ma'am.
Now, Desmond, let me begin with you. This whole thing is about greenhouse gases. Let's start from the beginning. What are greenhouse gases?
In the beginning, God created the heaven
Garden of Eden
and the earth. And being a perfect God, he created a perfect system. And one of the manifestations of the perfection in the system he created, particularly for planet Earth, was to put layers of certain types of gases in the atmosphere that would trap some of the heat of the sun, just enough heat of the sun to activate processes in the Earth that made her livable, that made her actually the only planet that is known in the whole of the cosmos that can maintain life. And those are called the greenhouse gases. Things like carbon dioxide, things like water vapor, things like methane, different gases. But carbon dioxide is the one that is giving us the big problem now, because we human beings tried to overstep our boundaries and started pouring hundreds and hundreds of millions of tons of excessive carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, upsetting God's perfect system. And now we have global warming, which is causing climate change, which has been described by the leaders of the world in the United Nations particularly as a what? Existential threat to humanity. Big, big problem. That's why they're having this conference on Monday. And Nigeria is going to be represented. Not every country was allowed to come. Because if you're not doing the right thing with the environment, you're not allowed to come. But Nigeria has stated she wants to do the right thing, and she's showing in some cases that she is doing the right thing. So she's coming to the conference, emergency conference for the environment on Monday at the United Nations to tackle this existential threat problem. It's a big, big, big problem.
So what are you doing in Lagos? Why aren't you there?
I don't need to be there. There are people who are far better qualified than me that are going to be there.
Talking about tackling this issue of climate change, greenhouse gas emissions, Amobola, you're a forester.
Yes.
In other words, you are looking to expand or increase the population of trees,
Exactly.
which we all know would help to reduce the amount of green gas emissions in the atmosphere. How has it been helping to tackle this situation?
Okay. Trees, as we all know, they absorb carbon dioxide, and then they give us oxygen. So now, if we plant more trees in our community, particularly in our city environment where the carbon emission is at the highest due to exhaust
Exhaust fumes.
fumes and all that, so we can cover the menace of global warming to a very large extent.
Okay. Now you're doing that, and then you now decided, okay, I need to call a summit, a climate change strike.
No, not I, actually.
No, not you. I'm here.
Okay.
You convened in Lagos, for instance.
Okay.
What gave you that courage to say no? Let me get some people together. Let's also speak out like the rest of the world is speaking out.
Of course, actually, when I came across the climate strike on Instagram, then I thought I could join a group, an already existing group in Lagos, to join in the strike. But unfortunately, I could not find any, so I took it upon myself to
Convene one.
yes.
Okay, just hold your thoughts. We'll take a moment and come back to talk about convening that strike action and the effect, or what the effects are likely to be. Join us again. We've since been joined by Mr. Olushola Adekoya, who's the Managing Director of Shodex Garden. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Mr. Ko, you were talking about how you got about to convene that gathering to join the rest of the world to say, we need to do something now. So you were looking for a group and you found none.
Yes, sir.
So what did you now do?
Okay, then I contacted my very good mentor, in the person of Mr. Adekoya Olushola. So then the next thing he shouted back was, "I'll support you." Then he invited me to come over, and then we had a plan. So he gave me the assistance of one of his staff, person of Glory Shidi. She's the one handling the NGO arm of the of Shodex Napin. So that anytime I need to do anything, she should go with me. Anything I need from her. Okay.
But did you get the response of young Nigerians? And were you able to,
Well,
did you go to schools and all of that?
Yes, we tried all possible efforts. In fact, we went to so many places. We went to the Ministry of, we wrote to the Ministry of Education so that they could grant us permission to adopt some of their students. We went to Unilag to particularly wrote to the Dean of Student Affairs. All was met with disappointment, but process of running everywhere. We also, of course, we tagged Daddy, Mr. Majekodumi, then on Twitter and on Instagram. Then he responded promptly. He invited us over. Then he also gave us access to NCF. Yes, they're on the island too, and then to some other. In fact, he personally, picked the phone and helped us call the general manager of Last Park when the response was getting a little bit slow. So it was he kicked fire, and that was it. Yes.
So in the end, about how many people were you able to get together?
We got a little above 100, but we had a target of 500 minimum. Yes.
Mr. Adekoya, what she's told about the challenge she had to gather people for this strike speaks to a large extent towards the fact that the knowledge of the environment or an understanding of the impact of climate change is not really gotten down to the grassroots. What's going on?
Yeah, I would rather say because of the economy. When you are talking to people about environment, they are thinking about what they can put on the table. So they don't actually understand the concept that is behind climate change. Over the years, we have been trying to convince a lot of people, the school children, because our own place, we have a lot of schools that come for excursion. So we took the advantage to lecture them on the importance of climate change, how they can mitigate against it, in terms of tree planting, in terms of recycle, reuse, and reduce. of waste, and how they can have a green zone within their compound, irrespective of the limited space they might have. There is something that is going on in the world now in the advanced climb, which is called vertical garden and the roof garden. You hardly see it around. So when I was coming to this place, that was the first thing I was looking for. China should have been compliant.
But we have plantings around us.
You do, but you don't have vertical garden.
We want the vertical one.
Because
Don't worry, we will get there.
we hold it in a very great esteem, and we believe that it should be a leading factor in that
No, but
direction.
if you want to go there, you saw that we have a lot of plantings around us, a lot of trees and all that to help, because we also need to cool down in this environment. What we do here is pressure, so we need the trees and the flowers to help us calm down. We will work on the vertical garden. Don't worry, we'll work on that. Mr. Majekotomi, if he said the issue why a lot of people will not look at, in Nigeria, will not think about when they hear environment, climate change, it's about the economy. It's about what would I put on my table. The man you're telling him, don't cut down that tree, he's thinking, I can cut it down and get firewood to cook. What do we do as per letting the country know? Because a lot of young people talk environment, but
Yeah. It's a challenge, and he's absolutely right. When you're thinking of the next meal or even today's meal, it's a long way away from your mind. But what I always challenge people to do, and I think I've done it in this studio before, and Alero was not able to do it, which is to ask them, and also this goes out to your viewers as well. Can you hold your breath for 10 minutes? If you can hold your breath for 10 minutes and you do it, I'll run away. It means you're mommy water. So the reality is that, why can't we hold our breath for 10 minutes? Because we need oxygen, which is what he supplies through his wonderful, wonderful gardens and the trees and everything, which God in his infinite wisdom and mercy has put in place for human beings. We need to have oxygen. And, that's part of the environment. That's what it's all about. That's why United Nations is saying that this is an existential threat. In fact, in UN now, they no longer call it climate change. They call it climate emergency, or they call it the
climate crisis.
Crisis. Climate crisis. You know what crisis is? God forbid you're in hospital and the doctors will tell you, oh, the patient is in a critical condition. It means your chances of leaving that hospital alive are less than your chances of just staying there and going to the morgue. The planet is in a crisis because we've been totally denying the reality that God Almighty, in his infinite wisdom, has bestowed upon humanity.
But Mr. Majekotomi,
Care for the creation.
Uncle Des, how do you explain or how do you manage the desire or the need to build economies, the need to expand
Great
and all of that,
Great
build
question.
communities, build homes,
it's
build
very
infrastructure
possible.
against expansion of
It's very,
forests?
very, very possible.
How do you balance all of
You
that?
see, the young lady that inspired this young lady here, who really, really excited me, I was just so, so happy to see what she was doing with the Great Shodek Gardens. The young lady that inspired her, that you mentioned, Greta, 16 years old. You know what she said? When she went to the United Nations, they invited her to come and speak at UN.
She's speaking again this
And
time.
in fact, she crossed the Atlantic by a sailboat to have zero carbon, to go and speak at the UN. And because she became a bit famous, they were taking pictures. She said, excuse me, please, I did not come here to take selfies with you. I came here to ask you, older generation, not to destroy our future. You are destroying our future. She made it very, very, very clear to them. And she also said, and this is very, very significant. She said, our house is on fire. And that is the reality of the situation. It's just a little bit more slow motion. But believe you me, when we're talking of climate change, we don't need to go and persuade the people in the Bahamas that climate change is real. No. For the first time ever in living memory, that kind of storm that hit there, it destroyed the place in 36 hours of 300 kilometer per hour wind. Gone. Just gone like that. So the reality is that if we don't do something, the economy will not only get bad, it will crash like it did in Bahamas. Crashed, totally gone, wiped out. But my brother, just on a final note, there is a wonderful, wonderful silver lining to this cloud, in that by pursuing the alternative economy, by pursuing the green economy, there is so much money to be made, but we need to get away from what caused this problem in the first place. Would any of you sit here with a generator? If I put a generator on in this room, you wouldn't sit here. Why not? You'd be dead. Yeah. Because it emits poison. And yet, what have we been doing? For the last century, we've been pumping out this poison, knowing that it's poison, simply because of the money that we can make. We can no longer allow greed to be the motivation. We can no longer worship money above the common good. We have to follow God's basic principles, and that is love above all else, caring for each other above all else, and then the money will come.
Let me just tag on to something that Shodek said earlier when he said it's the economy. I'm just, play devil's advocate. You search for people to join in this protest, and it was a tough task. We live in strange circumstances in Nigeria, and I've always said that we find it difficult to invent in this country because we're struggling with there's no water, there's no road, there's no light. We're struggling with the basics of life. So what time do we have to sit down and think about inventing anything? So also the young people are preoccupied with day-to-day living. They may feel the same way that you feel, but they may not want to come out because they have to go and hustle 100 naira somewhere or 1,000 naira somewhere. Don't you think that there are more people who actually believe that there is danger, that the house is on fire, but they cannot come out to scream about it the way that you have done?
Yes, of course. There are a lot of Nigerian youths, especially graduates from forestry, like myself, forestry department, or any other discipline relating to the environment, that also believe in the reality of climate change, but probably they might not be, engraced to come out like I have done, or to raise an alarm about it, because of they have to source for one's livelihood, basically. Well, I think I think that
did you get support online from some of them?
Yes, a lot supported, a lot actually. Okay, I got a lot of private chatting. You are doing great job. You are doing what we should be doing. You are a lot of it. A lot of calls came in, and then they really supported. In fact, I have some students come in from Akure. Some came from Ibadan, and some came from Oshogbo just to be at the strike yesterday. So it was I got a lot of support from them.
But you'd rather they come physically than being online?
Yeah, no, in fact, a lot of them came. Okay. A lot of them came physically, but a lot also didn't come physically. But I would rather, like you said, that we get a larger number that we add.
Okay, Mr. Shodex, here in Nigeria, as we begin to wind down, what can we do to make that difference? We have Lagos, the population of over 18 million. I'm using over 18 million. Nigeria has a population of around 200 million. There are a lot of cars in Lagos, and there are more cars coming in, more buses, and the smoke level is, there are more buildings shooting up than trees. In fact, there are more trees going down, buildings shooting up. There's less grass around Lagos. The first time my children went to the village, as soon as they woke up by 5 a.m., they ran outside, they saw grass. So what can we do, especially in our urban areas? Individuals, communities, estate organizations, what can we do?
A lot.
Please keep it as simple and practical as
Yeah,
possible.
first and foremost, I'm a practical person. What we are discussing is fossil fuel that we want to reduce the carbon in the atmosphere. Most of us, some of the cars we have in our home, we don't need them. We don't need more than 2. People are keeping 4, 5. Take for instance, I used to have 5 cars. I've reduced them to 2, and I'm still looking for ways to reduce them to 1. Working on how I can use battery-powered vehicle. So as an environmentalist, I think we should encourage almost everybody to become an environmentalist in one way or the other, because there is no way you can move away from it. That is number one. The use of waste, starting from from purchasing, that you want to purchase some materials, you must sit down and consider that, do I really need this thing? If you don't need it, why am I buying it? So you look at it from that angle. And then from the government angle, they have policy on the climate change, but it's not been effective. You hardly see most of the cars we have on our road are emission positive. So government is not doing anything. They have the LASMA, whatever, that we are supposed to go and go for emission tests. They can bring the certificate to your house. So government should be proactive about it. They should not hide away from it. So,
Thank you very much. Global climate strike. We should start thinking about what we can do so that we do not kill our environment. If we try to kill it, it's going to kill us.
It fights back.
It's going to kill us. So thank you very much, Mr. Desmond Majakudumi, an environmental apostle. Mr. Olushola Adekoya, MD of Shodex Gardens, and Ms. Momobola Eko, who is a forester. Thank you very much, and well done to you
Thank you very
for
much.
organizing that strike of yesterday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
thank you, ma'am.